Hello everyone. If you've ever been intrigued by the question, why an MBA or what does one learn in an MBA, this one's for you. This presentation is a summary of the key learnings of a core course, Responsible Leadership, taught as a part of the postgraduate program in management at the Indian School of Business. So let's come back to the question, why an MBA? Smart ones among you would say better career prospects. But for those of you who wonder how, here are the reasons. By summarizing the learnings of Responsible Leadership course, we aim at convincing you guys to consider doing an MBA by letting you know what kind of knowledge and self growth one achieves in an MBA program. How many of you have seen this man? Peter Ferdinand Drucker, the founder of modern management, has said management is doing things right, but leadership is doing the right things. Heard this one before? Does it make sense? Let's figure out. Before we start with responsible leadership, let's understand what does one mean by business value. In management terms, business value is an informal term that includes all forms of value that determine the health and well-being of the firm in the long run. Driver of a runway trolley speeding down the railway track. You can see five people tied to the track ahead of you. The trolley is heading straight for them. You could turn the wheel and shift the trolley to another track where you see one person tied to the track. What would you do? Would you be ready to shift the track and kill one person to save five? Let's think of another similar scenario. This time, you find yourself on the top of a bridge. Right below the bridge is a railway track. You see a speeding trolley and notice five people tied to the track straight ahead. Suddenly, you notice a fat man right in front of you on the bridge. If you push him on the track, it would stop the trolley and save five lives at the cost of the fat man's life. Would you do that? In a typical classroom, discussion surrounding ethical dilemmas such as the trolley problem, we can find at least two types of arguments. One centered around the argument that the right action is what brings about the greatest good for the greatest number, and another around formalism where the principle and not the outcome is what matters. Familiarizing yourself with these thoughts will help you to know yourself better and prepare yourself in effective decision making in ambiguous situations. Let's discuss another case, the kidney case. A National Kidney Transplant Board in US is faced with a not so unique problem, supply demand mismatch. They've got one healthy kidney available for transplantation, and eight eligible patients who badly need the transplantation done, like a 34-year Army veteran whose renal disease came as an occupational hazard, a 62-year-old engineer who has dedicated his career to developing alternate fuel sources, a lady who is a mother of four and has been on the waitlist for only 5 months, but the available kidney is an exact match only for her. A candidate whose renal failure is thought to be due to extensive drug use in his 20s, but he has spent his life and personal assets to mentor recovering addicts. A successful real estate entrepreneur has adult polycystic kidney disease, which is usually an inherited disease. Should she survive the disease, she is willing to convert her company into a non-profit entity. A 44-year-old rancher who's been waiting for 4 long years for the transplant now. A 15-year-old daughter of a visiting ambassador, and a candidate who has donated his kidneys to his brother when he was in his 20s. Now he is suffering from the same disease. Now, the case involves you rank ordering the candidates based on their profiles given to you. Later on, you are required to advocate for a randomly allotted candidate to the board. You would be surprised to see the effects of advocacy bias that arises out of this exercise. This helps in understanding why we sometimes stand by failed projects at work, even though we know it's a lost cause, and the significance of having a devil's advocate in every decision making process. So, ethical dilemmas not only affect individuals but major organizations as well. Decisions taken in such situations can affect its brand image, employees, and profits. Let's talk about one of the most relevant and recent examples of such a situation. We all know about the intense Cold War between Samsung and Apple. Apple taunts Samsung of always being one step behind in introducing new features for its mobile phones and calls Samsung a copycat. In early 2016, when Samsung began hearing that the new iPhone 7 would not be having a lot of new features, it saw an opportunity to leap ahead. Samsung wanted to take advantage of Apple's weaknesses and capitalize on this opportunity by introducing a phone filled with new features. So Samsung launched the new Galaxy Note 7 in August 16. In this process, for an early launch, they had pushed the suppliers and their employees to meet tighter deadlines. But when the customers started using the phone, fire began due to battery problems. Samsung had to recall more than 2.5 million Note 7 phones after reports of potentially dangerous overheating issues. The impact of this incident is still unfolding. Various new headlines every day indicate the effect of this issue on Samsung's brand image. Customer safety and satisfaction were compromised. Samsung's reputation has been adversely impacted, leading to financial loss and drop in sales. The issue is still not resolved, as it's reported that customers are still facing problems with Galaxy Note 7's replacement phones. Keeping yourself in the shoes of a company's senior management, what would you do when faced with such a dilemma? Do keep in mind that your decision would affect the whole organization and its customers. So, to summarize, the course revolves around ethics, integrity, and respect for individuals. The key concepts covered includes ethical fading, moral disengagement, advocacy biases, self-serving biases, etc. The course also covers multidimensional values at various levels. At the micro level, mindfulness and awareness of an individual of the very existence of an ethical issue in the decision making process. At a meso level, it involves negotiation, persuasion, and implementation. And what impact organizational culture and institutions have at a macro level at such ethical issues is what the course covers. So, the key learning objective of the course is managerial judgment, which involves identifying multiple dimensions of value, understanding the trade offs among these different values, and the impact on key stakeholders. Now, making an informed decision making. So, in terms of decision making and coming to a judgment, the course terms it leading quietly, which involves considering conflicting values and priorities that are contextually bound and that follows no pre-established templates. So the course in general aims at developing one's tolerance for ambiguity in decision making. There are likely no right answers, but one becomes an expert in applying the ethical, business, and legal frames of decision making to a concrete, complex circumstance. Thank you. Have a great day.